Hey guys, I'm Noobs, and in this video, I'll be talking about all the scenes for each episode I enjoyed of Season 7 Game of Thrones. I'll also be making a video of my top 10 scenes from Season 7, so stay tuned. So I loved how they started off with a bang, where Arya had on the face of Walder Frey. I mean, the way she had the men and his family gather for dinner, then had them poisoned and just stood there and watched as they died, was just amazing. Heck, even the little snippet where Frey said, "I'm not wasting wine on a damn woman," had me laughing. This is definitely one of my top 10 scenes from this season. Weird thing is, I only enjoyed that from episode 1. Sure, Daenerys arriving at Dragonstone was okay, but it wasn't enough for me. Episode 2. Jon basically grabbed Littlefinger by his throat and just choking him for like a few. Like him coming in there talking about, "Hey Jon, I'm in love with Sansa." Like, no, dude, it's not gonna happen. Like, definitely not gonna happen. So I don't know why you even came into the crypt trying to make small talks with Jon. He doesn't like you, bro. Just go be somewhere else. You know what I mean? Okay, so the next scene I enjoyed was like Euron attacking Yara's ship. It was like he was saying, "Surprise, like MFers," or maybe I'll just say like, "Surprise, bitches. I'm here to spoil your fun." The battle was epic, and the Sand Snakes got wrecked, while the other one just ran to go protect her mother, basically. But I mean, they did get captured, but it was kind of odd, like when Yara was fighting her uncle, and like he was taunting Theon, like, "Hey, come save your sister," and then Theon just became Reek all over again and just jumped over the ship, and Euron just stood there and laughed, and it was like the expression on Yara's face was like, "I can't believe he just did this." It was just weird and awkward, but fun at the same time. On to episode 3. Jon arrives at Dragonstone. Okay, so I enjoyed the small talk between him and Tyrion when he arrived, but I really enjoyed the part where while like all of them were walking up the steps and Jon was like, "I'm not a Stark," and suddenly like one of the dragons flew right over him. And I was like, "You're damn right you're not a Stark, you're a damn Targaryen." But I mean, like, he doesn't know this. And Daenerys doesn't know this, because it was kind of like when Daenerys was like to Jon, when they came face to face and she was like, "I'm the last Targaryen." And I'm pretty sure a lot of people were like, "No, you're not the last Targaryen. Jon is also a Targaryen." While we were like, when a bunch of people were watching this episode, I get that neither of them know this as yet, but it's gonna be like a huge surprise when both of them find out that he's also a Targaryen. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, really? Alright, so basically the last scene from this episode where Olenna was telling Jaime that she's the one that had Joffrey killed, and she was like, "Tell Cersei." I mean, the way the writers wrote that, it was like, it was done well, and the look on Jaime's face, like, "No!" You know what I'm saying? It was like, damn, yo. She was like, "Tell Cersei." The way she looked at him, like, "Tell Cersei it was me." I'm pretty sure a lot of people got a kick out of that, because I know I actually got a huge kick out of watching that part and just looking at Jaime's face like, "Yes, let's suck it to the Lannisters for once." Episode 4. Okay, so I know some might have found this scene boring, but the fact that Jon was showing Daenerys the drawings inside the cave and the importance of standing together and trusting each other is important, like how the children of the forest and the first men had to stand together in order to beat their enemy, the Night King. But then Daenerys had to go and ruin it with the bend the knee crap. I mean, it was just like awkward. I mean, like, he showing you something, it looks like he was falling for you, and you just had to be like, "Bend the knee." I mean, like, were you telling Jon, like, "Bend the knee and ask me for my hand in marriage," or whatever? I mean, I get that that's not what she was saying, but it was just like weird. Alright, Arya and Brienne practice fight scene. I mean, I enjoyed this scene. It was like, it's kind of like Sansa and Littlefinger coming over. And it's like Sansa's looking at her sister, and it was like, damn, both Arya and Bran basically went out in the open world and became something of themselves. Like, Bran became the three-eyed raven, Arya basically became an assassin and stuff, and Sansa is like just Sansa still. And like you could see like Littlefinger was just over there and he was like just basically just scheming in his head like how to pull Arya and Sansa apart. Yeah, I know that bastard, right? Okay, let's continue with the fight. It was kind of weird. Like Brienne looked like she was saying to herself, "Damn, Arya is so strong," and she's basically like just getting away from my hits. But it wasn't until like Brienne like basically kicked Arya down and looked into Arya's eyes, I think Brienne realized like, holy crap, Arya is actually a freaking killer. I mean, the way you saw Arya looked at her, and the way Brienne was looking back at Arya, it was like, wow. Okay, so let's move on to the big battle scene between the Dothraki and the Lannister army. The way, like, I did enjoy the way, like, the Dothraki came in screaming into battle and Daenerys flying in on top of Drogon. Like, it was done well. I loved it. I especially love the scene where they showed the Dothraki men getting on top of their horses and just firing those bows into the Lannister army. It was kind of like where Maester Luwin was showing Bran, like when Bran was younger, like, do you know that the Dothraki boys, they learn to shoot arrows while they're riding their horses at a young age? And I was like, kind of like, you know what? I like that because it's like, the one thing I realized about season 7, it was kind of like a history lesson. Like, they were just going over certain things and making you understand, like, basically what's supposed to be what, if you ask me. So the only thing I never enjoyed about the fight scene was, were two parts. Well, basically three parts if you think about it. Alright, the first part. Jaime Lannister and, like, the Lannister army were right next to each other, right? Drogon came down and, like, he basically blew flames into the guys, and Jaime was right there. He didn't get knocked back or anything. He was just right there while the men basically became ashes and stuff. Okay, the next part. Like, when Bronn basically fired that spear thing into Drogon and he came down and stuff. I didn't get the part where Jaime basically took up that spear and basically like he was riding towards Daenerys and Drogon, and out of nowhere is like Bronn basically came out of nowhere and basically dashed into Jaime, and like Jaime all of a sudden and Bronn were basically in deep water all of a sudden, with Jaime sinking like really fast. I'm like, okay, when Jaime was riding the horse, that was shallow water. Like, you're telling me that Bronn actually managed to just push Jaime all the way into deep water? Like, where the hell did the deep water come from? That, like, the writers just should have just never done that. You get what I'm saying? They should just left it alone because that didn't make any sense. And, like, it especially didn't make any sense, like, in episode 5, where you saw, like, Bronn being able to pull Jaime, like, really far away from where the battle was in plate. Like, how does that make any sense? But, I mean, it was kind of funny at the end of the fight where the Dothraki guy was talking to Tyrion and he was like, your men, they can't fight. I did get a kick out of that. So even though that part of the fight scene was ruined for me, I did enjoy the last part where that guy was like, your men can't fight. He was just like smirking at Tyrion. Episode 5, Daenerys arrives back at Dragonstone. I loved how they did the scene where they had Jon on top of a cliff looking at Daenerys and Drogon as she arrived back to Dragonstone. I especially enjoyed Jon and Drogon's bonding while Daenerys looked over in amazement like, holy crap, Jon is actually touching Drogon and Drogon isn't opening his mouth and just firebombing Jon. It was just really nicely done. I really enjoyed that scene until like Ser Jorah arrived. I was like, no, why couldn't they just leave him until I was like the end of the season to bring him back. I was like, why is he back so soon? Especially from where he was traveling from Old Town. Like, seriously? You really got from Old Town to there that rapidly? Alright, moving along. Arya is spying on Littlefinger to figure out what he's up to. But instead of being a clever rogue, she ends up getting caught sneaking around and falling into Littlefinger's trap. I was like, damn. Just when I thought like Littlefinger was basically gonna get sent away or whatever, he basically had laid out a trap for Arya. And he was just basically there, just watching her as she came out the room. I'm pretty sure like a lot of people was like, damn, Littlefinger. This was probably like the best scene out of the entire episode. Was basically Gilly letting it out that Prince Rhaegar got his marriage annulled and married another in a secret ceremony in Dorne, while Sam is going on and on about the things Maesters put in their logs. And I'm like, dude, shut up. Gilly is like spilling all the tea with receipts, and you're going on and on about Maesters. Okay, on to episode 6, Beyond the Wall. So I kind of like this, like the little scenes where they had like the guys like having conversations amongst themselves, where you had Gendry talking with Thoros, and you had the Hound and Tormund having like their gross conversation, which was actually funny. And even though I don't like Ser Jorah, I did enjoy the small talk he had with Jon about Longclaw and Ned Stark and Ser Mormont, his dad and stuff. It was good. I just don't like Ser Jorah. Someone just leave that alone. Okay, so I'm gonna just go on towards like the first fight scene. And this is basically what happens when a DPS never pays attention to their surroundings, while also leaving your priest, who is basically Thoros, to fend for himself. After he tried helping the Hound, is like the Hound, who is just like this big, strong warrior. I get that he's scared of flames and stuff, but I mean, your priest needs help. Your priest is basically getting smashed by a bear, and you're just stunned. Like, come on, bro, wake up. Like, get out of it, snap out of it. It was kind of sad, but I mean, like, we actually knew that somebody had to drop for this episode, so I guess it had to be the priest who had to drop. Maybe he just didn't have enough mana in him to fight off the bear. No pun intended, that was just a bad joke. Alright, so the other scene I liked was like the writers basically showing you, because I know like some people are probably going to be like, hey, how like when the great battle happens for like season 8, how is it possible for this few to kill like so many whites, right? But I appreciated that the fact that the writers showed that, hey, all you have to do is just go after the White Walkers, like the ones who basically made them. And I'm not sure how they're gonna basically get the Night King and stuff, and I'm also not even sure if they're gonna go to like the Frozen Throne and like basically attack all the remaining whites that are out there. But I do appreciate them showing us that doesn't matter. Just kill the White Walker and you kill like a whole bunch of whites. Like a whole bunch of them go down. Alright, so Daenerys coming in to save the day. I mean, she tried to save Jon first, but like all tanks, they think they can take on more mobs and be the hero of the battle. And I was like, ugh, come on, Jon, what the hell are you doing? But let's not mind that instead. I think we should basically focus on like the part where you had like Viserion going down. I mean, like a lot of people I know, they were basically saying like Drogon was right there. How the hell is it that the Night King bypassed Drogon and went directly for Viserion? Like, that didn't make any sense. And honestly, the only thing I can come up with is either maybe he didn't want to harm Daenerys because she has Targaryen blood and she's pure Targaryen. It's kind of like with Jon at Hardhome, right? Like, the Night King, he just overlooked and just looked at Jon basically just killing whites and killing a White Walker, and he didn't really do anything to Jon. You get what I'm saying? He just watched him, and I'm like, something is like I'm kind of like, what is it about Jon Maybe it's because like Jon also has Targaryen blood, why he doesn't want to harm Jon. Because like take for instance, like after Drogon was there and Daenerys was there and Jon was basically beating up whites, it's like the Night King just like at first he was just watching before he went and shot down Viserion. And then I'm like, why aren't there like more whites attacking? Like maybe because Drogon was right there and they didn't want to like he didn't want to lose more whites or something. I don't know, but it's kind of weird. But that's something that is basically gonna get explained in season 8. I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm not even gonna like speculate on this, but it's kind of odd if you think about it, because he didn't attack Drogon and Daenerys and the other guys, and they were right there. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna leave this alone and just move on to episode 7. So I'm just gonna say this from now, like I enjoyed like multiple scenes from this one episode. Like episode 7 was just fantastically done. The only thing I didn't enjoy was basically Viserion coming in and just like destroying the wall. I was like, no. Alrighty then, on to the scenes. So I like the part where they had like all the enemies and the friends arriving at the dragon pit, and like you had Jaime coming in with Cersei while Brienne was just looking at him like, why hello stranger. Like that part was just kind of like really cute. I also loved like Daenerys arriving on top of Drogon while Rhaegal flew above. It's like just the way that they had it like after Daenerys got off her dragon, and like the way Drogon just flew off. I was like, damn, this dragon is huge. But like, it just looked really awesome. It was like, hey Cersei, I came here with my Unsullied, my Dothraki, and I came here with my 2 dragons, okay? I can basically kick your ass right here. Okay, moving along. So I kind of laughed when Euron was like to Theon, hey Theon, I got your sister. And Theon just looked away like, man, why did he have to come to me first? Like that part is just so dumb, but it was funny at the same time. Alright, so the part where you had like the Hound taking out like, well, not taking out, basically like kicking the white out of the box. The entire time, like when it was running after Cersei, I was like, get it over with. Just get Cersei out of the picture, like bite her, whatever, turn her into a zombie so they could just set her ablaze. I mean, I know it's violent and stuff, but I'm pretty sure like there's a lot of people out here who are basically like saying to themselves, I wonder how they're gonna take Cersei out of this Game of Thrones thing. Okay, so the next scene I enjoyed was probably the one between Jon and Daenerys, while she was telling Jon that, hey, I can't get pregnant. And Jon is basically like, who told you that? And she's like, the witch who murdered her husband. It was kind of like Jon accepting Daenerys' quest. Like she's a quest giver and she's giving him a quest and say, hey dude, you need to get me pregnant. I mean, I know that's not what happened, but this is the way that I'm interpreting it. So it was just kind of funny. It was like Jon was like, okay, I'll accept your quest. Oh god, that was poorly done, but that was poorly executed by me. Okay, but that's just what I took from it. Okay, on to the next scene. Basically, Ser Jorah getting blocked by Jon. Like, anytime Ser Jorah gets blocked, I laugh and I'm just like, yes. It's like Jon, like, in their scene where he's like to Daenerys, you need to fly to Winterfell instead of going on the ship with Jon. And Jon is like, yeah, bro, it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna block you right here. So it's like, hey, Ser Jorah, there is no more quest for you. You have been denied. Okay, on to the next scene. Jon and Theon having their moment. I love how the writers basically showed it where, I mean, I know they were saying to like Theon doesn't have to be a Stark and he doesn't have to be a Greyjoy. He can basically be both. And it's kind of like saying like maybe this is what's basically gonna happen when Jon finds out that he's a Targaryen. Maybe it's just gonna be like, hey dude, you don't have to be a Stark and you don't have to be a Targaryen. You can be both. So just get it over with, Jon. Let's not have any crying moments when you find out that Lyanna is actually a mom. I wonder if they're actually gonna show him cry about it. I think not. Okay, so on to the juicy stuff now. Okay, so the Great Hall scene, we're looking like Littlefinger was basically looking smug when Arya came into the room, and then Sansa started speaking like all the charges and stuff. Like she was basically listing everything that's been happening, and like I loved his facial expression when she looked at him and she was like, Lord Baelish. It was like that smog look, like just basically like just evaporated from his face. Like it was gone. I loved how they had it where Sansa was just reading him with all the receipts and everything, and the way they had it where all the Stark kids were joining in. I mean, like, finally, Bran came through, because normally he's just weird. I mean, I don't know if that's how the writers are trying to do it, have him, like, seem really weird. But I'm just glad that he wasn't weird for this scene, and he actually came through and said something meaningful. The other part that I loved was probably when Sansa was like, I'm a slow learner, it's true. And I'm like, yes, Sansa, we all know you're a slow learner. But then she was like, I do learn. And I was like, yeah, you do learn. And you're actually learning now. Because I was like, bitch, are you really going to kill your sister? Like, come on, you can't kill your sister. Arya, even when Arya was like, I should probably cut your face to see what it'd be like to be you, Sansa. I mean, she wasn't going to do it. She loves you. Like, come on. But I loved the way, like, Sansa nodded at Arya and was like, go ahead, just kill him and get it over with. It's like, Littlefinger was just there, like, begging for his life. And, like, the way he ran over to, that guard dude from the Vale, and he was like, I'm Lord Protector of the Vale, and I demand that you take me back. And the guy was like, no. I just loved how they just basically, like, Ari just went over and just killed him and just slit his throat when he was like, Sasa! And, like, it was just gone, like, bye, bitch, you're done for. So the best scene for me in this entire episode was basically Bran narrating the scene between Rhaegar and Lyanna getting married. Like, you could just see in between, like, you could just see, like, they were basically in love, like, the way they did it. And I know, like, there were a lot of people that were like, hey, why does Rhaegar look exactly like Viserys? But guys, they were brothers. They're supposed to look alike. It's kind of like Viserys and Daenerys in season 1. Like, if you go back, you'll notice like they do look like they could pass for a brother and sister. So obviously they had to find an actor that would look like both of them, right? But enough of me babbling on that. Let me just continue. I love the fact that they said that Robert's rebellion was built on a lie. Maybe Lyanna sent him a scroll and told him she never loved him and was going to be with Rhaegar. And being jealous of their union, Robert decided to take down the Targaryens because he got hurt. Also, maybe Ned realized this when he found his sister in that tower in Dorne and felt guilty. I mean, he did tell Robert in season 1 to leave Daenerys and her brother alone and to not worry about them crossing the Narrow Sea. Maybe in some weird way of Ned protecting Jon and not wanting no one to know who he really was, he also wanted to protect Daenerys and Viserys. I mean, Robert did say he would kill every Targaryen he could get his hands on. Okay, let me move along to where Bran says Jon's real name is Aegon, and that he's not a bastard, but he's actually the heir to the Iron Throne. It got me thinking, if Aegon the Conqueror took over the Seven Kingdoms along with his sister wives, maybe Jon, also known as Aegon, along with Daenerys, will be the ones to rescue the Seven Kingdoms from the grasp of the Night King and Cersei. Just something to think about. Okay guys, I'm Noobs, and I'll catch you in my next video.